Oh, man. Try as I may, try as I might. Okay. Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream, live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about the news. We're going to talk about altcoins. I'm going to move some crypto around for you guys. The focus tonight will be on cashing out, a subject that is near and dear to everyone's hearts and seems to be a bit mysterious for some people, but actually it's pretty easy. So we'll focus on that. I've got several devices laying around here. Thank you everyone for being here again. Yeah, I mute this mic when I do that intro. Maybe I should figure out a better way. But anyway, forgot to unmute it again. So anyway, thanks for being here, everyone. Let's move over to the big screen and greet everyone that's here tonight. Let's see, we've got... Oh, so many people, it's off the screen here. Kenneth Wiedner was here early. Thank you for being here, Kenny. And thank you for the news stories. Thank you, Dan, for texting me to let me know that my mic was muted. I appreciate it. Joanne L. was here early asking about BlockFi. I believe BlockFi is bankrupt, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I did a video about BlockFi couple of years ago, and I don't think they're around anymore, to be honest with you. I think they went out along with Celsius. Okay, what's Dan saying now? Am I still not? All right, let me see if I can. Come on, Rex. No sound. Oh, that was just, I didn't actually check the text, so that was just the reminder that I hadn't checked it yet. Anyway, thank you, Grateful Red. Someone just tipped me. Charlie Rivera, thank you. Giddy up to yourself. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. I turned the sound down just a tad on that alert so it doesn't knock you out of your seat anymore. Max Schlossberg from Slovakia. That's funny. We were just talking about Slovakia this morning. We went to the farmer's market here in Grand Rapids, and there's a nice lady there that sells all kinds of pastries and baked goods, pies and stuff like that. And they all say European on there. And I asked her this week, you know, because we got some last week too. I said, where are you from in Europe? And she says, Budapest. And I was like, oh, okay, from Hungary, eh? I said, well, my brother-in-law is from Slovakia. He married my wife's sister. And he told me that there are a lot of Hungarian people that live in Slovakia. And she was like, yeah. So, yeah, we were just talking about Slovakia this morning. So those pastries that we got were really good. Of course, we love that farmer's market every morning. The cherries are starting to come into their own. I talked about cherries last week. Cherry season is fast approaching. It starts in July. Sweet cherries from up in the upper lower peninsula, like around Traverse City. Perfect climate for cherries up there. They are the world's capital of tart cherries. They like export tart cherries all over the world. As it turns out, tart cherries are used more in the cherry industry, right? The people use them for cooking and stuff. But man, those sweet cherries are good, eh? And strawberry season is on the tail end because the nice lady from Hungary was telling us that this might be the last week that she'll have strawberry pies because the strawberry season is almost gone. Almost, yeah. So anyway, enough about local Michigan. Thank you. Let's see, Max Schlossberg. Maybe I should read your little comment rather than just talking about you being from Slovakia. At the beginning, Rex Please was the latest 5 stream from Friday not published yet. I'm not able to find it, but I watched a couple of minutes. Yes, unfortunately, Max, my live stream that I did yesterday, I had some issues with it. The first issue was when I started recording, it was the sound was out. And it's hard to fix the sound on the fly, so I had to quit my Streamlabs software so that I could figure out what was wrong with the sound. And once I got that fixed, I had to start another stream, which I did. And then as we were going through, somehow I got confused. I had a stream that was active and I had a stream that was upcoming and things were kind of weird. And I waited until the end of the stream to post my thumbnail because the thumbnail wasn't posted. And then I went and deleted the previous stream that I had created. And right after I did it, right after I confirmed the delete forever, I realized that I had deleted the wrong stream, that I had deleted the one that we had just recorded that had 500 views. And I was left with that empty stream that had no content. And so I had to delete that as well. So unfortunately, I deleted the stream from yesterday. I apologize to everyone for that. I'm just getting too old for this stuff. B16, Amsterdam, Holland. Scott Lee is here. Daniel Barry. Crypto Work is here again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reminding me there's no sound. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Let's see. Birds, Bees, and Trees here again. Bankrupt company. I don't know. Is BlockFi still around? Why don't we check their website? BlockFi. BlockFi was another one of those custodial services. And yeah, okay, here we go. On October 28, 2022, BlockFi filed voluntary cases under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code. Additional information about our filing can be found on our blog. So yeah, they applied for bankruptcy, but I guess in the meantime, they're still around. But they, over time, they had been severely restricted over the kinds of products that they could offer. Of course, in the early days, they were offering for you to stake your Bitcoin and giving you a very high return on staked Bitcoin. But it was custodial staking, right? You weren't staking it out of your own wallet. You were actually transferring your Bitcoin to them. And I did a video on that, and not long after I did the video, I just kind of felt a little squirrely about storing my Bitcoin with them and decided I wanted to put it back in my own wallet, not because I didn't trust them, but because I just like keeping Bitcoin in my own wallet. And when I went to make a withdrawal, they kind of gave me a little bit of a hassle. It was kind of a bank hassle. And it alerted to me at the time that there was something not quite right about using this type of service. And not that there was anything fraudulent about it, but that it was more of a mainstream kind of banking kind of thing. They when I tried to withdraw my Bitcoin, they were like, okay, it's going to take like 5 days to clear or whatever. And I'm like, I'm just withdrawing my Bitcoin. That shouldn't be a big deal. But because of the way the company operated, they were taking people's Bitcoin in and paying them return, but their business model was to turn around and lend that Bitcoin out to larger players. And that model kind of fell apart along with Celsius. So, so that's why I didn't do any follow-up videos with them. I thought that most people kind of figured that out in 2022, that these self-custody staking platforms are really not where it's at. Now you can, I believe Coinbase allows you to stake some assets still. And I think that's one of the reasons they got sued by the SEC, is the SEC is like really cracking down on platforms that want to stake your crypto assets for you. Yeah. All right, so let me get caught up, Burrs. I still have a little bit of BlockFi, but got most out when we were coaching us on how to put it into hard wallets. That's good to hear. Birds, bees, and trees. BlockFi issue is still in the court. Paul Wiener is here. Thank you. How do you stake BTC? You can't. Right, that's the thing. It's not natively stakeable. So the only way to give someone a return on Bitcoin is to manage it for them and then kind of lend it out on the side, which is what banks do with, dollars, right? But you won't find Bitcoin staking on Coinbase because it's not natively stakeable. It's not a proof of stake coin. It's a proof of work coin. So really, there's no way to natively stake Bitcoin. Yeah. Joseph, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the tip, as usual. I thank you for educating the public. We can hear you loud and clear. Yay! maybe too loud. I don't know. I'm looking at the mic strength. It looks like it's right in the sweet spot. Maybe a little loud. Let's jump into the news, guys. We had a lot of news going out yesterday, and I've rehearsed this because I did most of these yesterday. Bitcoin hits 1-year high, soars past 31,300K. The largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization has been surging this week after 3 financial service giants filed applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin continued its mid-June surge Friday morning, soaring to a 1-year high above 31,000. Yay! Before retreating below this threshold later in the day. If we take a look at where we are today, we're a little bit down today, but not bad. We didn't just have like a precipitous fall or anything today. We've just kind of pulled back for a little breather. So if we look at the current price of Bitcoin, on CoinDesk, it's 30,544. Let's see where we are with Crypto.com. 30,783. Maybe up a little higher over in Asia right now. I think they get most of their market data from Asia. So, yeah, just a little bit of a pullback from yesterday. So if you haven't been in the live stream before, all of the news stories that I've covered tonight are linked down below here under news stories covered. There's a little bit of stuff up here about what we're going to do tonight. I've got a new product spotlight because I did do a video on the NGRAVE hardware wallet, which is a really cool hardware wallet. I've been waiting quite a while to do a video on the NGRAVE. Rather expensive, but as from my evaluation, it's worth it. After all, the hardware, the offline hardware device, which holds your private key, has a touch screen that's pretty big. So it's almost like, a phone or an iPod Touch in the technology that goes into it. And it's a joy to use, right? Because of the touch screen, it's very easy to manipulate, much easier than, say, a Ledger or a Trezor that have these tiny little button-oriented interfaces. So I give the NGRAVE an A+ on usability and ease of use, but not high marks on affordability because a lot of people can't afford a $400 hardware wallet. But if you're protecting, $10,000, $20,000 worth of Bitcoin, this would be a solid way to do it. I would think of this wallet as kind of a long-term storage type wallet. It is a little bit difficult to use, a little inconvenient because it is a offline. Damn it! I always forget the name of. I can't say it. What do they call it? I hate when I lose my ability to think. The way the wallet, it's an offline. Non-touch, whatever you want to call it, right? Doggone it, dude. Come on, Rex. What do you call this thing? Well, it's never going to come back into my mind. Somebody throw it up there for me. What is it? It's an offline something, non-touch surface something. You scan QR codes, right? There are no cables that connect it or anything. All right. So anyway, it's a great wallet, very secure, a little bit difficult to use, but as far as getting it set up, and the touchscreen, really nice. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the NGRAVE tonight. I've got a couple of different wallets here. I've got my trusty Ledger. I've got my Trezor. And I was going to show you the Bitbox 2, which I dug this wallet out. It's a really cool wallet. It's really nice. It's a little bit small, but a really nice little interface. I believe it's made in Sweden. And but unfortunately, I can't demo it for you guys because for some reason, it just won't interface with my desktop using my little, because it has a USB-C connector on it. And when I plug it into the USB-C port on my desktop, it doesn't recognize it. My computer doesn't see it. So I remember when I did the video on this, I had a really long cable that had a USB 3 on one side, and then the other side of the cable was like an indented USB-C. It was kind of like a USB-C extender that went into a regular USB port. And I dug through all my stuff yesterday, could not find that darn thing. So maybe I'll demo this later. But I did do a video on the Bitbox 2 a while back, which still holds up pretty well. It's from 2020. It's a nice little wallet, not too expensive, a little bit small, but a really cool little device, that secure hardware device. So let me see. I'll put that in the air gap. Thank you, air gapped. Thank you. Wayne C. Yes, the NGRAVE is an air gap solution, just like the Keystone Pro, right? And also I have the Keystone Pro here. I've been charging up the battery today, so we can do a little export on the Keystone Pro today as well. Let's go to the next news story. We'll just get through the news real quick. I really like this story. Banning crypto may not be effective in the long run. The IMF stands for International Monetary Fund, shadowy bankers, right? As you know, over the course of Bitcoin's existence since 2008, it wasn't considered much of a threat by the big financial people. At first they basically ignored it, and then they kind of ridiculed it, and then they disparaged it. I remember back in 2017 and 18, most of the mainstream stuff about Bitcoin was that, it's only used by criminals and that kind of stuff. And then in 2020 and 21, when we had our big bull market, they kind of shifted gears and decided that, yes, Bitcoin was a thing. It was here to stay. Normal people used it. Big institutions were getting into it. And so lately we've seen kind of a full court press attack on the Bitcoin and larger cryptocurrency ecosystem by mostly the SEC in the United States, but other regulatory agencies as well. Mostly attacking the Bitcoin fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. And that's been a cause for a lot of market turmoil over the last several months. And but now we're seeing the IMF, after the full court press of attack on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, has capitulated and said, wait a minute, I don't know that banning crypto is going to work, right? So there are still people disparaging Bitcoin. And thank you, Asil. People disparaging Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. One of them, we'll get to a news story here in a minute. But basically now the IMF has admitted that, hey, banning Bitcoin's not the answer. We're going to have to figure something out. It's not going anywhere, right? So good news in my eyes. And then another story here, Valkyrie, which has been around for a while, had several applications for Bitcoin ETFs, has just refiled their Bitcoin ETF. I believe that was yesterday. At least the fourth to seek a BTC spot. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. It's basically, thank you, Darren Herman. I appreciate your subscription. Thank you very much. When a company lists an ETF on a major exchange like NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, they're basically a company that holds the underlying asset and then has this fund that's based on the price of that asset, and they actually hold the asset, right? So this has been a sticking point for several years in the cryptocurrency industry. The SEC has continuously denied companies listing exchange-traded funds on major exchanges because of what they would claim is the underlying nature of Bitcoin and its susceptibility to market manipulation. If that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, I don't know what is. But yeah, so that's what we've all been screaming about here as ETF. The ETF, if it were approved, would allow a larger segment of the population to start to trade or invest in Bitcoin because they could do it indirectly by just picking up their phone and calling their broker, as opposed to going to a cryptocurrency exchange, trying to figure out how to use it, get signed up for it, maybe even store Bitcoin in their own wallet. This is all pretty hard stuff. Self-custody. And that's sort of why Ledger went in the direction of trying to provide a backup service for their hardware wallet, because they were probably getting a lot of complaints from people in their tech support about lost crypto, and they were getting blamed for this. And also their CEO admitted that there's a huge section of the population that is untapped, a segment of the population that they feel would buy their product if they offered a service like this. So I totally understand why Ledger, decided to offer this backup service, but kind of anathema to the spirit of a cryptocurrency hardware wallet to say, well, we'll sell you a crypto hardware wallet where you can practice safe self-custody, but since you can't handle it, we'll do it for you. Not a very good look. Anyway, so we talked about ETFs, Valkyrie, another one, leverage Bitcoin futures ETF to start trading on Tuesday. It's another big event in the news that will more institutional investment in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So a lot of great news coming out lately. It looks like the tide has turned. Bitcoin's hit an all-time a yearly high. So things are looking good for the overall Bitcoin market. That's good. And this other story here, I wanted to make a comment about this story. This is the ECB, which is the European Central Bank, if I'm not mistaken. That's what that stands for. Predicts a dark future for cryptocurrencies, right? So not all of the, the shadowy banking elite are have given up on disparaging cryptocurrencies. But he brings up something here. Okay, one of Panetta's key observations was the diminishing perception of cryptocurrencies as a reliable store of value. Oh, diminishing? I didn't think banks ever admitted that Bitcoin was a reliable store of value. Now they're saying, well, not anymore. I guess I missed it, right? I guess I missed those 2 days where banks actually recognized Bitcoin as a reliable store of value. And now they're already telling me that's history. He highlighted the significant market capitalization decline of over $1 trillion in late 2021 and 22 as a turning point. Oh, I see. So he's not aware. Let's take a look at this. He's not aware of the history of Bitcoin, right? Let's see if we can get a max here. Now, it's not going to give us everything, but, there was a significant market decline in 2018 down to 2019 or the end of 2018. There was also a significant market decline here in early 2021 and down to mid 2021. And then there's that one that he was talking about. So yeah, it seems like he's a little late to the party to be telling us that, oh, Bitcoin has a significant market decline, so it's history, right? Yeah, people have been telling us that since 2013, actually. Bitcoin hit 1,000 in 2013, I think, late 2012 or 2013, and then went down to like 300 or 400. And that people were telling us that was the end of Bitcoin back then, too. This is before the 2017 bull run. Okay, so I'm done bagging on this guy. The highly volatile nature of crypto assets, according to the ECB official, makes them more suitable for speculative activities akin to gambling. He emphasized the need for global lawmakers to treat cryptocurrencies as such and implement proper regulatory safeguards. In case you haven't heard, gambling is legal. Right? So they always disparage Bitcoin by comparing it to gambling as if that's a bad thing. Gambling is one of the biggest industries in the world. I mean, billions, if not trillions of dollars in gambling. Horse racing, sports betting, lotteries. I mean, gambling is one of the largest industries in the world, and it's a normal course of events for thousands, if not millions of people. So to disparage Bitcoin as, oh, it's like gambling, well, stocks are like gambling too, if you really get down to it. It's been a long time since you bought stock based on a company's fundamentals. Mostly the price of a company's stock and the stock market is based more on guessing which way the Fed's going to go at the next meeting, as opposed to the underlying stability of and business model of the companies themselves. But I digress, right? All right, so let me see. Let me get caught up. Market regulator in Belgium orders Binance to suspend crypto services. Yeah, I saw that story. I think that story is on CoinDesk. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Where was that? Here we go. Binance ordered to halt offering crypto service in Belgium by market regulators. is accused of serving Belgium customers from countries outside the European Economic Area in violation of the law, the Financial Services and Markets Authorities have said. Yeah, so the attack on cryptocurrency exchanges is definitely not over. Yeah. All right, Dan Westra, Bitcoin is up over 100% since November of 2022. Really? That's great. Thanks for throwing that one in there, Dan. I appreciate that. First word starts with air-gapped. I don't know why, man. I get like stuck on this stuff. So anyway, yeah, so the Bitbox app, I can't do the Bitbox guy thing for you guys tonight, which was kind of interesting because, you know, when I saw the price of Bitcoin going up over the last week or so, I started thinking, you know what? Now that the crypto market seems to be recovering, I think I should dig up some of my old hardware wallets and see if I left any crypto on there. And sure enough, that Bitbox that was up in my closet that I did the demo for in 2020 I had put some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, and something else in there. And then I watched my own video and saw that I had transferred most of that Bitcoin out of it. But I wondered, hey, did I leave some of that Ethereum and stuff in there? And sure enough, when I connected this thing to my laptop, there was about $400 worth of crypto on here. So better than going through your couch cushions, eh? But anyway, we'll deal with that later. Let's see. What should we do? I guess I'm caught up on chat. Let's see here. Let's go over to overhead. Yeah, so I've got the NGRAVE here. This is a charging cable. You can see this brick over here. That's just a charging brick. Now, this device is totally offline. It has no USB cables. It has no Bluetooth, no RFDI, whatever it is. But you do have to connect it to your computer to run firmware updates, and that's just. I think I was talking yesterday about this. The issue with cryptocurrency hardware wallets, right? We want cryptocurrency hardware wallets to be not only secure, but they have to be useful. And blockchains are constantly being updated. So to have a static hardware wallet that cannot be updated is pretty pointless, because then they would have to keep coming out with new models every 6 months to a year and saying, okay, here's the new model that can do X that old model can't do, because Polkadot has upgraded their blockchain. The Bitcoin dev team has come up with a new Bitcoin protocol that makes it faster, better, whatever. The Ethereum chain has been updated. These sort of things happen all the time. And if you have a hardware wallet that cannot be updated, it's not very useful. And that is why the Ledger has the firmware update, and Trezor has regular firmware updates. And when we have air-gapped wallets, there's two different ways to do firmware updates. Now, the Keystone Pro has a little slot for an SD card. So basically, if I can get it out of here. Yeah, so it has a little SD card, and that is how you update the firmware. Basically, you go to their website, you download their latest firmware updaters, you copy them over to your little SD card from your computer or your laptop, and then you put the SD card in the device and run the firmware update. Well, they say, oh, nothing ever touches the device, but we are moving a firmware update from the internet onto an SD card and then onto our device. So it's really not that big of a stretch to say, okay, well, the NGRAVE, you basically just connect the device to your computer as you're running the firmware update. It runs across the cable and runs the update. So a lot of people are suspicious of any kind of interface. People are very suspicious of ledger devices now that they've come out with this new backup feature. They don't trust the process. Well, the bad news is, or the wake up and smell the coffee is that hardware devices always have always relied on a certain level of trust of the end user in the way the company manages the private key and updates the internals of the device. I know we were all under the impression that they were completely cryptographically safe and secure, but they are, but the inner workings of many hardware wallets like Keystone and like NGRAVE are proprietary, right? You cannot see the inner workings of this. And I read a little article on somebody's website about the reason why this is. The reason why they don't make the secure chip technology open source, there's two reasons. One is that most hardware manufacturers, hardware wallet manufacturers like Trezor and Keystone and NGRAVE are actually buying those secure chip elements from third-party companies, right? They don't actually make the secure chip element. They give them the specs, and then they outsource that to companies that specialize in that kind of stuff. And those companies that make these secure element chips don't want to reveal their industry secrets, right? Understandable. The second reason why they don't make the secure element chip inner workings or the firmware or wherever you want to think of it open source is because an open source model relies on a large development community to constantly be reviewing and updating the code. And secure element chips are very small and esoteric, and to have that sort of code being open source really doesn't make sense because you don't have enough people actually with eyes on the code. You would most likely have the bad actors looking for zero-day exploits. Zero-day? And for that reason, these technologies are not open source. So yes, Ledger has firmware that is not open source and that has the possibility of exporting the private key, right? They've said that that's been possible, but they have never said that they have done that until recently. So to simply say that because of this, that ledgers are suddenly insecure is an overreaction, because all other major hardware wallets besides Trezor, have closed source firmware. There, I said it. Anyway, let's fire this guy up. I've got some other cameras. I'll show you. I've got some other cameras where we can show this thing shoot. Let's try this camera here. Let's do this. You can see this guy firing up. Like I said, it's, as you can see in my hand, that this is a really nice piece of hardware, right? Nice big screen, very safe and secure device. So I moved some Bitcoin yesterday on the Lost live stream. Is this thing gonna come up or not? Okay, it wants me to enter my PIN. Oh, wow, I thought I had it plugged in. I don't understand why it's like, maybe this thing came unplugged down there. I don't know, that's really weird. It's telling me it's like not charged at all. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. I don't know, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, I expected this thing to be charged up. It's been charging since yesterday. Maybe I kicked something down there. Anyway. All right, so here is the main screen of the NGRAVE device. Now, notice you can see these apps. You can open them up, all right, and look at them. You can look at the receiving address. Let me see if I can get this a little better. All right, you can look at the receiving address, but you can't see a balance on this because this is the private key. This device is the stores the private key offline completely. And so the only thing it does is verify transactions and store the private key. But you can also look at the receiving addresses, right? But you cannot read your balance on this device. And this is a big thing. A lot of people think the ledger should do that as well. I get a lot of people that that give me comments and emails about their ledger device, and they're in a panic because they transfer some Bitcoin onto their ledger device, and then they're looking on the device screen to find their balance. And the balance does not show on the hardware wallets, right? The hardware wallet component is the external part where the private key is stored, right? So you're not going to see your balance. You're not going to manage your balance at all. What you need to manage your balance is the accompanying app. So, and I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to go into the Ethereum app, and then there's the Ethereum address. There is some Ethereum on this wallet, so I'm just going to put it down here for now. And I'm going to show you the app. Oh, let's see here. So this is the NGRAVE app. And this is the public-facing part of the wallet. This is the part of the wallet where we can manage the cryptocurrencies. So I told you tonight that I wanted to focus on cashing out. I get a lot of people that ask me questions like, how do I cash out my ADA from the Daedalus wallet? How do I cash out my Bitcoin from the Trezor wallet? How do I convert my Ethereum into cash off the Ledger or the NGRAVE or the Keystone? And in their brain, they're thinking that somehow they should like dollars should just fly out of the wallet, right? So it's not that difficult to cash out your crypto when you have it stored in a wallet. But it is, there's a couple of steps in the process. The first step is to transfer the crypto somewhere where you can sell it. I'm not looking at you guys, am I? This wallet. So the first step is you transfer it somewhere where you can trade it for dollars. And that's generally a cryptocurrency exchange. So we're going to use Coinbase as our example tonight. Actually, I think maybe, why don't we see if we can use Binance US? Because I'm pretty sure Binance US did not disable cash withdrawals. I could be wrong, but let's see if we can make it happen. Now, it's possible that they may not let me withdraw a small amount, but let's go through the motions of withdrawing this Ethereum to a place where we can trade it for dollars. And we'll go ahead and use Binance US as our example. So we'll go over here to Binance US. Let's get ourselves logged in. And I'm going to need my two-factor, so I'll get that. Let's see here. 397. And I am kind of looking at the chat window, and I mean, when I do these demos, sometimes I get caught up in the process because sometimes what I'm trying to do takes a good 5 or 10 minutes. So I apologize if you have questions. It looks like JDO is answering questions, and once I get through this little segment here, I'll go back and review the best I can. And so I apologize if you have a burning question that I'm not getting to. I will try, right? But if I stopped everything I was doing and just answered questions all night, I wouldn't get anything done, right? And there's a lot of people that come into the live stream just to watch me do the stuff I'm doing that aren't asking questions. So for those of you that are asking questions, I apologize. I'm going to try to get through this. All right, so we want to make a deposit of Ethereum because we have some Ethereum. So let's see, I'm going to go over here to Wallet. And I'm going to find Ethereum. If I can't find it, I'll search for it. ETH, right? And then I want to make a deposit of Ethereum. Right, here it is. I can click right on it. We'll say deposit. And then they're going to give me the address of the Ethereum account for my Binance US. So we can take our NGRAVE app. Right, we'll go into the Ethereum, and then we want to do a send, and we'll let me move this over just a tad for you guys. We'll do add recipient, and then the recipient is the address of our destination, right? So every crypto transaction from point A to point B requires an address. Just like if somebody owed me money for some work I did for him, and he said, I'll just mail you a check. The first question he would ask me is, what's your address? Right? I need to know where to mail the check, right? Give me your address. Same thing with crypto. You want to send crypto from point A to point B, you need to know the address of point B, right? So that's what we're doing now. So how are we going to get this address from Binance US? Well, within the app, where we put in recipient, we can type it in ourselves if we want to, right? If we could do this whole 0x business, I'm not going to go through all that. I might make a mistake, right? Much easier to do a scan QR code and just scan this address in, right? There's the address of my Binance account. The next thing I'm going to do is tell it how much I want to send. So I'll tap there in amount. Will I? Okay, there. Okay, all right. What am I doing here? Okay, that was weird. Why does it say ETH there? I don't get it. I'll do send all. Okay, all right. It was a little different than what I'm used to. All right, so there it is. It's going to cost me 47 cents in Ethereum on $43. So not too bad, right? Let's do our preview and sign. Now, this is a request of a cryptographically formatted request to sign this transaction, right? This is the request that says, hey, I need authorization. So where am I going to get authorization? Well, from the private key, which is on the air-gapped part of the wallet, right? Hey, I remembered air-gap this time. So I'm just going to take my phone, right? Let's go over here to overhead. I'm going to take my phone that has this dynamic QR code. I'm going to just lay it down here, and then I'll pick up this guy. And what am I trying to do? Oh yeah. I don't need the Ethereum address. Really, what I want is this little. There's a little icon up here that has. It's like a scan code, right? So I'm going to tap that and open up the camera on this thing. Right, now it's asking me to scan. I need to scan this little, that's weird. I need to scan this little thing here. So let's go over here. Whoops, not that one. All right, so I'm going to take this device and scan that QR code in, if I can do that. What the heck am I doing here? Oh, I need to turn it this way. I think I got it now. Right, there we go. Okay, it's looking good. Or is it? Okay, there it goes. I got a little progress bar now. Sorry, I got the mic turned the weird way. All right, so that worked. All right, now what I have is, what I have is this. Right, I have a well-formatted request that has now been registered on the hardware device, and now the hardware device is asking me to authorize the outgoing transaction, which I will do by clicking the little button there that says sign. It's kind of hard to read. Yeah. But yeah, that little yellow button there says sign. So I'll tap that. I have to enter my PIN, authorization. All right, and then I'll hit next. All right, and now I have the signed transaction, right? This is the signed transaction that is authorizing the public part of the wallet to send out the transaction, right? This is the authorization going out. So let's open up the phone again. All right, now on the app, right, you can see the app here. I'm going to tap next. And now this camera opens up, wants me to scan that hardware wallet now. Okay, it's telling me the battery was low. Well, let's see if we can get this done here. Yeah, I got to figure out why that's, okay, good. All right, that worked. You could see the other screen over there. All right, so yeah, it was a little cumbersome, but very secure. So like a pretty cool wallet. So sending a crypto transaction out from an air-gapped wallet requires like the 2 scanning steps, right? First, the hardware device has to scan the request, and then once I tap sign, it generates a signed authorization, cryptographically signed, which I scan with the app, right? And now my transaction has gone out, and we should see the Ethereum come into the Binance US account shortly, right? Let's see, we can go to ETH here, and I don't see anything. We'll just kind of keep an eye on that. And while I'm waiting, this might be a stupid question, but according to Ledger, the new service they are coming out with, I read they're storing my secret key to 3 companies. What happens if one of the companies goes bankrupt? First of all, I don't agree with this service. I would never use it because I believe in full self-custody of my crypto. So I don't think the Ledger device is insecure, as many people have decided now that, you know, this whole fiasco started. But I will not be using this backup service because it is anathema to the spirit of crypto to have someone else manage my private keys. We should all be managing our own private keys. Having said that, I will address your question. So the first question you had is, what if one of the companies goes bankrupt? They cover that in their Q&As, and they say if one of the companies goes bankrupt, then the other 2 companies will custody your shards until they can find a 3rd company to take over that 3rd shard, right? Now, if all 3 companies go bankrupt, God knows. Right? If all 3 companies go bankrupt, then maybe they'll lose your backup and they'll owe you a refund for the 2 weeks, or I'm sorry, the year or 2 that you were paying them $10 a month to store your backup, right? Worst case scenario. But even if you use the backup service, you are required to initialize the wallet and write down your seed phrase. So the reason why they have this backup service is in case you lose your seed phrase. And if they screw up and lose your shards or whatever the case may be, or go bankrupt or whatever, you still have your seed phrase. Hopefully, it would really be rather irresponsible of you to just throw away your seed phrase because you're totally relying on them to manage your seed phrase for you. This is supposed to be a backup service to your own management of your seed phrase. Right? So that addresses that question. But the bigger question is, what if government agencies, Interpol, ECB, IMF, whoever, banking regulators, go to these private companies that are storing your shards and demand they give them a subpoena to reveal your financial records, and they get a hold of your private key. That's the biggest risk of them storing your... It doesn't matter how cryptographically secure they're storing these 3 shards, right? All 3 of these companies are beholden to the governments that they live under, right? And the shards are stored in France, UK, and the US. They might as well just be one company, right? It's Western interests, right? It would be different if they were storing one shard in China and another in Russia, or maybe one in India, or, no, they're all being stored by, Western banking interests. And these are the companies that, these are the countries that are the most intrusive with people's private lives. So anyway, and then you went on a little bit. I think you asked, it might be a stupid question. Let's see, you asked who are the 3 companies? One is Ledger, the other, I forget their names, but they're companies that specialize in self-custody or in custodying crypto stuff, right? It's really not important what their names are. If you really want to know their names, you can find out on the Ledger website, but it's really not important because it doesn't matter what company it is, they're still beholden to the governments. So I would never use this service. I also see the need to upload my passport and personal info. Yes, that's another drawback to this whole thing. You've suddenly linked your crypto to your identity. The whole scheme is just wrong-headed in my view. The whole idea of someone storing your backup phrase is wrong-headed, but tying it to your identity is even more wrong-headed. So that's why I'm not going to use this service. All right. So anyway, enough about that. But that does not mean that I do not trust my Ledger wallet anymore, right? I still trust my Ledger wallet despite all of this, because all we have, first of all, this service isn't even available, right? And second of all, the functionality is not enabled until we run the latest firmware update, which I'm beginning to more and more think is really not that big of a deal. Because even if you update your firmware, you still can't export the private keys of the seed phrase unless you sign up for this service and actually go through the whole process. And Ledger compares it to your ability to sign your private transactions from the device. It's the same level of trust we've been putting in the company for years. When we use the device to sign outgoing transactions, we are basically we're really not exporting the public key, but we're using the public key to sign outgoing transactions. So that same process of user intervention is also required for exporting the keys to their recovery service, right? So we've been doing this ever since day one. We've been authorizing outgoing transactions. Now, with this new functionality, we'll be authorizing an outgoing export of our private key to be stored on their servers. I will never do this. And Ledger assures everyone that only people that choose to use this service will have this. This will only happen when people use this service and authorize from their device. So since I'm not going to authorize from my device, my private key will never be exported. And I have to trust them because I've been trusting them all this time anyway, right? As I mentioned earlier, every hardware wallet requires a level of trust in the inner workings of the device because that's just the way hardware wallets work. Let's try another device. Let's do the Keystone, right? I got a Keystone here. Keystone is pretty much the same thing. All right, so I've been, you can see what I'm doing here. Yeah. I've been charging up my Keystone battery for a day. So the Keystone battery charges up, and then you just drop it on the back. It's pretty cool the way it works, actually. Right, so we've got the Keystone, and the battery has this little, it's magnetic, right? It's got the little battery leads on there, and you just drop it on, and it just clips on there magnetically. Pretty cool. I'll go ahead and boot this guy up. I hope I booted it up. Maybe I need to hold it down just a tad longer. This always works at home. There it goes. All right, so we're booting up our Keystone. Why don't we send some Bitcoin out of the Keystone? And now we'll do this to Coinbase. Right? I've got my Coinbase pulled up over here. Okay, this thing's booting up. Oh no, I forgot this thing needs, I cut my finger yesterday. I'm going to try it. I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off so that I can, hopefully this thing will take my fingerprint. Oh, I didn't really cut my whole fingerprint off, right? It just the tip of my finger. So let's see if it'll take it. Okay, it did. All right, I might need that again, but I'm going to go ahead and put the Band-Aid on. Okay, so here we go. Let's, we're going to do a little back and forth. All right, so here's the wallet. I'm going to back out. Now, all I really need to do is send a transaction out, and then I'm just going to need to use this wallet to scan that requested transaction. So let's start over here. Let's start over here. Let's get our Keystone app pulled up. Where'd it go? I think it's on this screen. Keystone, where are you, baby? Oh, there it is. Okay. It got pushed. All right, so we got some Bitcoin in the Keystone. Let's go over to Coinbase. Let's get an address, right? We need point A to point B. We need the address of point B. So let's see here. Let's go to Portfolio. Let's go to Bitcoin, right? This is I think this is the advanced, right? We hit deposit. We get our Bitcoin address. There it is. All right. Now let's go over to our Keystone. Let's go into our Bitcoin wallet and say send. All right. And then let's send it all. So I'll tap max. And it's going to cost me $1.28 in Bitcoin fees. For the address, send to address, there's a little scan, right? Because I've got the QR code from Coinbase, I can just open this guy up and scan the Bitcoin address from Coinbase. All right? Is this going to work? There it goes. All right, so there it is. I can eyeball it and see that it's the same Bitcoin address. And now I'm going to do a send, right? I'm just going to send it all. Always do small tests, right? If you're not sure what you're doing. There's a breakdown. Let's hit confirm. There's that QR code, just like we had with NGRAVE, right? I'll put this down on the table, and then we'll go over here. And this device, oops. The little icon is down here, right? Down in the corner, there's a little icon for, it's kind of hard to see the way the light is, but it's got a little icon there for scan, right? So I'm gonna tap that, right? And then the camera opens up, and we're gonna scan the request. Right, so we'll scan the request. It went in. All right, let's go back to this guy. All right, there's the transaction that it wants me to authorize, and then I tap sign to sign it. Right? This is me signing the transaction. So I tap sign. Right? It needs my fingerprint again. So I'm going to pull this Band-Aid off. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to fingerprint this guy. It worked. Hooray. There it goes. And there's the outgoing authorization, right? It's just one QR code, interestingly. All right. Now it tells me, let's go back over here. I'll try not to lose you guys. I know sometimes I'm on the wrong camera and I think you can see what I'm doing, but you can't. Now I'm going to scan the, you can watch me. Oh, there it is on the table, right? Just watch me scan it. There it is. Execute broadcast. We'll hit confirm. And the broadcast of the transaction has gone out onto the blockchain. All right. So we did a couple of outgoing with some air-gapped wallets. I can hit done here. And then I'll just put the keystone down. All righty. So now we've got 2 outgoing transactions. Now, I did one yesterday, and it took a couple of hours to actually register or for the Bitcoin to become spendable on Coinbase. As you can see, there's already some Bitcoin in my Bitcoin account, right? If we go into this, yeah, it still only has yesterday's transactions. It's going to take it several minutes to actually register as an incoming transaction in Coinbase, but it's going to take it quite a while to actually confirm on the Bitcoin blockchain and in Coinbase itself. Let's go over to Binance US and see what's going on with my, oh, looks like the Ethereum did come in. That's good news. Let's go to wallet here. And yeah, so you can see we've got some Ethereum in here. Let's go ahead. All right, so how do we cash out, right? We took this Ethereum from the NGRAVE, right? How do I cash out the crypto on my NGRAVE? All right, step 1, transfer it to an exchange where you can trade it. So we can trade Ethereum directly for US dollar. Right, so we just go to trade and go down to ETH US dollar trading pair. Then we go over to the sell tab, and I'm going to choose market, which I always do, and I'll just slide this guy up to 100%. We'll just sell it all. We'll hit sell, and those 2 orders went through. We'll go back to wallet, and now you can see here that I've got $47 in my US dollar account on Binance US. Let's see if we can withdraw it. It may be that it's we'll click right here on the dollar account and choose withdraw. And how much did we have in there? 47. All right. So we'll withdraw $47 from the US dollar account to my Lake Michigan Credit Union bank. That's already been set up. We'll hit preview. We'll hit confirm. I'll put in my 2-factor for Binance US. Here we go. All right, they're going to send me an email confirmation, which goes to my CryptoDad email, I thought. There it is. Okay, so I'll click confirm withdrawal. And come on, baby. There, it went. All right, so you still can withdraw fiat from Binance US. All right. So, yeah. So, my available is 45 cents. My unavailable is 47. We just click here, and I have a pending US dollar withdrawal from Binance US. right? So I had heard that Binance US was going to disable US dollar withdrawals. I guess that deal they made with the judge, where they got kind of a 2-week window to confirm that they were not commingling their funds with Binance proper. And so they did not disable fiat withdrawals, right? I haven't tried to make any fiat deposits, but I would assume if you can withdraw, you can deposit. I could be wrong about that. I know that you can still put crypto in and out of Binance US, and you can still withdraw stable coins, send and receive stable coins. So yeah, I mean, it's still fully functional as far as I can see. So we have two different ways to cash out, right? We've got Binance US, which is a cryptocurrency exchange, and we have Coinbase, which is another cryptocurrency exchange. Both of these exchanges, and I'm just going to use, okay, so I do have some Bitcoin in here already that I can sell. This is not the Bitcoin we transferred, because the Bitcoin that we transferred has not shown up yet. Let me see, maybe, whoops. Oh, I'm going to need to sign in here. Let me go ahead and sign in. Okay. Whatever. All right. So let's see if that Bitcoin has... Oh, this is it. Okay. Here. Okay. So there is a pending deposit of Bitcoin, right? That came from the Keystone Pro. So it hit my account. Everything's great, but it's not part of my available Bitcoin balance yet because it has to confirm, right? It's still pending. But we do have some in there already from yesterday, right? So we can, and I don't know where I ended up. Oh, I'm still in advanced, right? Oh, okay, I guess. So I have some Bitcoin I can sell, right? So let's just assume this was the Bitcoin that we transferred over. We'll go over here to market, and we can just take this up to all the available Bitcoin that I have right now, which is 0.00291118 BTC. That's from yesterday, but I'm just taking you through the workflow. Normally, you would wait for the Bitcoin that you transferred to become tradable, right? And now that we've done that, we can go back to our portfolio, and now we can see that I have a higher US dollar balance from that Bitcoin that I just sold, right? So how do we cash out the Bitcoin from our Keystone wallet? We transfer it to an exchange like Coinbase, and then we swap Bitcoin for US dollar. Now that I have US dollar, I hit cash out. Cash out all. I usually like to leave a little bit in there. Just sometimes it'll give you a hard time if you try to do it all. It won't work. It'll tell you don't have enough. It's just weird. So I always leave myself a little change in there, right? So we'll hit continue here, and now we can decide which bank I want to send it to. You can do the instant if you want. I'll go ahead and do the instant because it's not that much, but with higher amounts, you really don't want to do that instant. You know, it could charge you like $10 on 100 or whatever, right? Right now, it's fairly reasonable. I'm not going to miss $1.35, so I'll go ahead and do the instant out to Chase, right? Now, when you do the instant out to Chase, it always wants your two-factor, right? Let's see here, 968730. Okay, there it goes. And I'm going to just double check my banking app. And lo and behold, I just got a transfer of $88.65. right? So I don't know, what do we just did 90, right? So it cost me, well, yeah, it cost me $1. We saw me do that, right? $1.23 or whatever it is, but it's in my bank, right? So I was able to, from my wallet to Coinbase, well, I kind of cheated a little bit because usually Bitcoin takes longer to actually become tradable. For whatever reason, Bitcoin takes a while. I don't know why that is, but like if you send Ethereum, you notice that Ethereum cleared right away in Binance US, and it usually does in Coinbase too. Solana clears really fast. Polygon clears really fast. I mean, when you transfer it from your wallet to Coinbase or Binance US, you have almost instantaneous access to it for trading. All right. So reasonably, if you practice this kind of stuff, you could transfer from your wallet to the exchange to your bank within 5 minutes if, you get this system down. Right? But it's 3-step process. Transfer, trade, cash out. Please chart PancakeSwap. I don't do coin evaluations. I might demo PancakeSwap a little bit for you guys, but I don't know what you mean by chart. I think you're wondering about, whether you should be buying PancakeSwap tokens right now. I don't do financial stuff. I apologize for that. All right, let me see if I can get caught up here. PJ Playhouse is here. So there is no backdoor, question mark. What are your thoughts on storing the seed phrase? What do you really think about CoinJoin? I don't use CoinJoin. I get confused. There's CoinJoin is like a Bitcoin mixer, but I think it also has a little bit of censorship capability. So in that respect, I'm not a big fan. I think I get confused between the three companies that are shard. What three companies? Whoops. Store the ledger seed. Maybe they'll. Oh, Coin Cover. Yeah, the other company is Coin Cover, not Coin Join. But I get those two confused sometimes. You're asking me about Coin Join or Conjoin or however you want to pronounce it. That's kind of a Bitcoin mixer service that was integrated into the Wasabi wallet, if I'm not mistaken. But it has been used due to government pressure to censor some Bitcoin addresses. So it's not really free and open. What is this cat doing down here? Hi, kitty. Oh, you think I'm going to stop my live stream for you and feed you? I don't think so. Oh, okay, you can say hello. If you want to say hello. Like if I hold him like this, he's going to be like, oh. Wow. Okay, I don't have time for you. I'm busy. Come on, go downstairs. Go find something else to do. I'll feed him later. Spoiled cat. He gets fed twice a day. He gets wet food twice a day. And I keep his dry food bowl full. When I see it empty, I fill it up. Okay, so that's Wasabi. What are your thoughts on storing seed phrase on Apricon secure key drive? I'm not a big fan of storing private keys on secure servers. I think the end user should come up with their own way of storing their seed phrase. Now, the NGRAVE wallet has this really cool graphene tablet. All right, this metal plate that you actually use a puncher to punch in the codes. So it's really safe and secure. The only thing I'll say about it is it is a tad bulky, and you would most likely want to keep this in a place where no one's going to run across it, right? Somebody asked me about maybe they were talking about that, or I think they were talking about the crypto tag. I did a video on the crypto tag, which is a similar scenario. It's made of metal and it's used for storing your backup phrase. And he said something about, so if I get a home invasion, then this thing's toast, right? And all my crypto's discovered. Yes and no, right? Basically, that's not really a crypto question. That's a question about how do I keep my assets safe and secure, right? If someone comes in a home invasion and you have gold coins or a bunch of cash in a lockbox, or you've got nice paintings or jewelry, that's all susceptible to that same scenario, right? So blaming a crypto storage device as being vulnerable to thieves is kind of an oversimplification, right? Because that has applied all through eternity or posterity or whatever you want to call it, right? It's always been a homeowner's dilemma to keep their assets safe and secure, whether it's cash, gold, silver, lead, jewelry, whatever it is, you know, you keep it in a safe or you hide it where no one can find it. I mean, that's basically how you deal with your own home security, right? But to disparage a crypto storage solution because, hey, somebody might come in and steal it, it's kind of an oversimplification, right? My advice is hide it in a really good place that somebody's not going to find it, right? And it's much easier to hide something like that than, say, you know, a big pile of cash or jewelry, right? Because cash and jewelry are stuff that you kind of use on a day-to-day basis, and you might get caught with your pants down, so to speak, if someone breaks into your house, right? But a crypto seed phrase is something that you don't really need access to on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, you could put it under the floorboards, put it up in the attic, under the insulation, bury it in your backyard. You know, there's so many creative ways to hide stuff like that, that a guy that breaks into your house is not going to have time to search every nook and cranny of your house, right? So there's that, right? And then you can also have decoys if you want, stuff like that. Normally, you store a seed phrase on a piece of paper, which you can make multiple copies of paper, store them, hide them in good places, maybe some off-site in case you're, you know, fire or flood or earthquake or whatever. So there's lots of ways to just manage your private key as opposed to storing them on secure servers. I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, I guess there are some services that claim to be cryptographically sound and secure. I know that I have a password manager, and they back up my password file to the cloud, but it's encrypted. Even they can't read it. The only way to unlock it is me personally using my master password. So I guess I could deal with something like that because I know I do that for my password manager. But my crypto seed phrase, I kind of put that in another category, right? I would prefer to just, yeah. Oh, just showed up. What are your thoughts on storing seed? Just showed up wondering what devices you had there. Curious about what the device was before the Keystone. The NGRAVE, I was using the NGRAVE earlier. I did a video on the NGRAVE here, and I think I linked earlier to that video. So it's offline. What was the word? See, now it's lost again, right? Yeah, and I have still air gapped. It's an air gap solution. I've still not seen my ledger stacks or heard anything from them. No courtesy email to tell me, oh, it's, you know, we're working really hard. You know, we're really sorry. The last email I got from Ledger concerning my Ledger stacks was like March 4, saying it's been delayed for a couple of months. Well, it's been more than a couple of months now. It's been like 4 months now, right? Still hasn't shown up. Let's see, let's close this up here. So let's see, what can we do next? Let me get caught up on the chat window. Air gap, thank you. Nifty, am I reviewing Nifty? I did Nifty last week. Unfortunately, I don't have anything on my Nifty right now. I told you that I compromised my wallet last week when I did my Nifty video. I accidentally revealed the seed phrase, and I had put a little bit of crypto in the Nifty, not that much, not the Keystone. The Nifty, which I think is a really cool wallet. It's also got a pretty nice size screen, and it's NFT centric, right? So you can kind of view your NFTs on the device. Unfortunately, somebody else emptied it out, and I have reinitialized it, but I haven't put anything new in there, so I can't really do much of a demo on the Nifty. But I will link to that video that I did on the Nifty. And let me see, I can show you that. Let me turn off the sound here. The touch screen is big and easy to use. Okay, here we go. And I got through that confirmation phase very quickly. I know on other hardware wallets you have to use, you know, kind of a weird button-based interface to enter letters one by one. You see the phrase is blurred? So this was just a joy to do. There, right as I transitioned, the blur was like overridden by the transition. And so as that screen was wiping sideways, that blur disappeared and you could see my seed phrase. There was less than $100 worth of crypto on the wallet. Not saying there's anything wrong with Nifty, right? It was all me by accidentally revealing my seed phrase. But yeah, the wallet got emptied out. You know, the thing was, so this was just a joy to do. So you can sort of see over here, somehow I think what he did was he slowed it down, right? You can do that. I forgot you can do that. And how do you do that? You can do it. I know you can do it. When you're reviewing a YouTube video, there is a way to slow it down, but I don't know how to do that. You would think that I would know. Well, okay. I can't figure it out right now on the fly. Mini player. Hey, Salah Shadi. Thank you so much for that subscription. Anyway, I can't figure it out. Now, as I met... whatever. God, how do you do that? Anyway, somebody tell me. You can slow a YouTube video down, I think. You can watch it in... Scott Lee does it all the time. Watches in... Anyway, I revealed the seed phrase on that. Even me, I do that shit. Sorry. Didn't mean to swear. Let's see. Here we go. Was that withdrawal a taxable event? Yes. The withdrawal itself was not taxable, but the trade was. When I traded the crypto for dollars, that was the taxable event. Yes. I kind of wanted to talk about that as well. So many people point out the fact that every time we trade crypto, it's a taxable event. And yeah, everyone hates taxes. But does that mean that we should never cash out our crypto, or that we should never trade crypto, or that we should be averse to taking profits when the time comes or buying low when the time comes, just because it's a taxable event. When I buy a stick of gum, that's a taxable event too. I get charged sales tax on that. Does that mean that I'm not going to buy a stick of gum because I'm going to get, you know, a couple of cents tax? Well, maybe 15 cents tax, whatever it is. Whenever I buy deodorant at the grocery store, that's a taxable event too. I have to pay sales tax. Does that mean I shouldn't buy groceries because it's a taxable event? Just about everything we do is a taxable event. Are we just going to put our entire life on hold because of taxes? I mean, geez, I don't like taxes any more than the next guy, but I'm not going to like put my life on hold because the government taxes me when I do stuff, right? Yes, when we transfer crypto to an exchange and trade it for cash, that is a taxable event. Yes. Right? But if you sign up for a crypto tax service or you hire a crypto tax attorney, you can deal with all of those taxable events and report them to the IRS and pay your taxes like a good citizen, just like you do for everything else. When I go to work and I get paid, that's a taxable event. The government withholds taxes from my paycheck. Does that mean maybe I shouldn't work anymore because it's taxable? Right? Do you kind of get where I'm going with this? To be so worried about crypto trades as being taxable events it's like, you know, if you want to deal with crypto, great. If you want to keep it in your wallet, it's not taxable. If you buy crypto, it's not taxable. When you store it in your wallet, it's not taxable. When you transfer it back to the exchange, that's not taxable, right? Transferring crypto is not taxable. Only when you trade it is it a taxable event. Maybe that's the question that you had. Was the transfer taxable? No. Transfers of crypto are not taxable. It's not a taxable event to move crypto from point A to point B. Only when you trade it is it a taxable event. Yeah, sorry I got on my little taxable tirade there. To slow down, go to gear settings icon and choose playback speed. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh, okay. So we want to do it really slow. Where was that? What happened? Am I on the same video? Is this the Nifty? Okay. Oh, this is all the way back here. Okay, here. All right. And it's kind of a pain. So this, as I'm, and it's kind of a pain. I get it. Let's turn off the sound here. But we should be able to, yeah, I think that's what he did. He must have slowed it down. Let's see. Here it comes. Here it comes. There. Okay. There it is. Dun, 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 dun. There's the seed phrase. In all its glory, right? I'm like, oh my God. So the guy that saw this and decided to empty out my wallet had a choice to make. There's not very much in his wallet, but should I wait for him to put more in there? Or should I just take what's in there now before someone else sees his seed phrase and does it before me, right? So, because I thought it was kind of rinky-dink of him to take like $30 worth of Polygon or $20 or whatever. I think that one of the cryptos was only like $20 worth. But, you know, money is money, right? So yeah, they emptied out my wallet when they saw my seed phrase. Thank you for that little tip. I knew there was a way to slow the speed down. Should we do another wallet? Crypto Cat. Oh, Crypto Cat. Ooh. Yeah, we spend a lot of money on our little cat Marco because he's a little bit finicky. I guess I indulge him, right? I give him, what is that? Fancy Feast broth, right? That's one of his favorites, right? Fancy Feast broth. whoops. It's like his little, I buy these little 12 packs for him. So it's like a little pouch and you just like pour it in. And yeah, he loves that stuff. He gets it in the morning and then I give it to him at night. So that's why he was up here. He's thinking it's about time for him to get his evening fix. Okay, yeah. So let's see, what else can we do? Should we do I did want to talk a little bit about Ledger, because I get a lot of questions about, and we've talked a little bit about whether or not we should run this firmware update. I'm thinking at this point, it really doesn't make much of a difference. Just because the functionality is there doesn't mean that I'm going to authorize it. In the same sense that just because I could authorize an outgoing transaction, it's only when I choose to do it. And this is what Ledger has been saying over and over and over again, that you choose whether you want to export your keys to our servers, right? It requires user intervention. And the service isn't even available yet. It's been put on pause. So I'm going to go ahead and run the firmware update. I'm just tired of looking at this thing. Call me crazy, right? So the first thing I'll do is connect my Ledger device, right? Got a little USB cable here. And let's turn this camera on. You wouldn't do it. Well, yeah. Yeah. Once again, I will say this again. I've said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. That, first of all, just because somebody at tech support said that it's always been possible to export the private keys through a firmware update doesn't mean that they've been doing that, right? They are a company that makes a claim about their product, and the product has been rigorously tested over the years that it does what it says. And if Ledger had been storing people's private keys and stealing their crypto, we would have known by now. Now, you can make the argument that they're like Dr. Evil in his like little island lair, and they're storing everybody's private keys and waiting for that big event where they will one day will suck everybody's crypto out of their Ledger hardware wallets. I doubt that that's a viable scenario, right? First of all, if that happened, they would immediately be found out, right? So not a very good plan if you're not a very good thief yeah. So and as I said, we put a level of trust in the company when we use their device, as we do with every other hardware wallet, pretty much. So I don't think that they have been exporting people's private keys on the fly all this time. And I don't think that updating to this firmware is going to introduce a quote-unquote backdoor. It's the same concept as the private key. I cannot sign a transaction without user intervention on the device. Just because now they've allowed user intervention to export the key to their servers doesn't mean that that's a backdoor. It just means that it's one more thing that can only be authorized by the user, just like signing the private key can only be done by the user. Now, people have claimed that this device has been hacked before, and all of those hacks involve someone having physical possession of your device. So as long as you have the device in your hand, then there is no backdoor. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. I'm blue in the mouth trying to explain this. I hope this works. I think I was talking while I was trying to enter my PIN, but I got it. Okay, so here we go. We got our device. Let's go to My Ledger. Let's allow this. And let's go ahead and run this firmware update. All right. I think Dan already did. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Ledger Recover starting today. You can subscribe to Ledger Recover, which you can't. I don't know why they... Well, maybe you can now. I don't know. I'm not going to, but apparently you can now. I don't know what date this is. Ledger is currently compatible with... Okay, Ledger Recover is only compatible with Ledger Nano X. This is a Ledger Nano X. Let's go ahead and do this. And the day I lose all my crypto mysteriously off this Ledger device, I will come and tell everyone I was wrong. Until that day, I will continue to say that it requires user intervention. Yeah, just like you guys just wait. And I swear to God, if my crypto disappears, I will come hat in hand and admit to you that I was wrong the day all my crypto disappears. Yeah. So it'll be fun, right? You guys can wait for me to admit I was wrong, and I'll just sit on pins and needles. Confirm install on Ledger. Okay, so I hit both buttons. Or no, I'm sorry, I got to advance over one and then confirm. All right, and then at some point, I'm going to need to re-enter my PIN. And there we go. All right, so I'll re-enter my PIN. And all right, so I took the plunge. Now, the device, all the apps are off the device, but there is a reinstall app. You can't see it, it's behind me. I don't actually want to move it, to be honest with you. But trust me, there's a button behind me that says reinstall apps, right? This software is kind of funky. I don't want to move my camera around and it like be weird. Oh wait, I can do it like this, I guess. Yeah, there you go. See it? Reinstall apps. Okay, that worked. So I'll click that, and it's going to reinstall every app that was on there before. I have to authorize that. Now, there are a lot of people out there claiming, oh, they've released, you know, this firmware update is, you know, this is a backdoor that's being installed. Well, no one person at Ledger has the ability to push firmware updates out. So it requires multiple authorizations from multiple people at the company. So if there was a bad firmware update, it would have to be done with the full knowledge of everyone at the company, right? So they would have to, as a company, be criminals, number one. And they would also, as a company, need to, you know, make sure that nobody in the inner circle reveals that they're pushing bad firmware updates. It's just a really weird scenario, right? People in the, it's like a safe maker, right? If you're a safe maker that leaves backdoors for safe crackers, and then whenever safe crackers robbed banks and cracked safes, they would pay the safe cracker, I'm sorry, they would pay the safe makers like a kickback fee because they left a, you know, some kind of vulnerability in their safes, you know, intentionally. You know, then the safe makers would have to trust criminals to give them their cut. I mean, it's just a weird way of thinking about the world, right? I don't know. I mean, if you don't trust anybody, anywhere, anytime, more power to you. But unfortunately, we put a level of trust in just about anything we do, and we have a risk assessment in just about everything we do. We step outside our house and we get in our car and drive down to the beach with the full knowledge that we might get into a car accident. But we're willing to take that risk because we want to drive down to the beach, right? We don't like hide in our houses because we're worried we're going to have a car accident, right? And the chances of you having a car accident are pretty high, right? Through no fault of your own, right? So we take risk assessments about everything we do, right? So that's it. So the same with crypto. As I mentioned, there are no foolproof crypto solutions. There are highly secure crypto solutions that are difficult to use. And so in that sense, they're not good solutions. A good crypto storage solution must include security, usability, and affordability. Those are my three. I'm sure there's others, but we can't judge completely on this unattainable idea of security that doesn't even exist in the real world. Everyone seems to think it does, but it doesn't. And to fault Ledger because we don't trust them, we could say the same about every other crypto wallet out there, most of them. Right? And the ones that are so complicated we can't figure out how to use them, or they're too inconvenient to use, aren't really good solutions either. There, I said it again. Yeah, my 2.21 updater had disappeared for a while. I noted that with Dan when I met Dan earlier in the month. But I did a clean install of Ledger Live and it reappeared. So I don't know if yours disappeared. You could try going to the Ledger reset button because you'll need it eventually. So Ledger Live is busy reinstalling all of my crypto apps. There's quite a few of them, and I need to let this finish. So when that finishes, I'm going to show you something else with the Ledger. Yeah, we can see over here I've got this space for apps that haven't been fully reinstalled yet. At some point you update the firmware or use another wallet. Yeah, that's true. I'm not saying that. I think the general consensus in the crypto community is that now that we know that hardware wallets can't be 100% cryptographically trusted, which most people that were real crypto enthusiasts already knew this, but there was a large part of the community had always believed that the hardware wallets were 100% secure, safe and secure, and then rude awakening, someone told them, hey, there's no Santa Claus, that crypto hardware wallets, there's a level of trust involved in a crypto hardware wallet. Now they have to make a choice. Do you want to stop using Ledger, or, do you want to keep using Ledger? Or do you want to choose a different wallet? That's a black and white choice. But I think the general consensus now that we know this is that people should spread their assets across multiple platforms, right? So don't keep everything in your Ledger. Maybe keep some in your Ledger, some in your Trezor, some in your Keystone, some in your NGRAVE, some in MetaMask. Spread your assets out is the general consensus. I'm pretty sure that's the general consensus in the crypto community, is that we don't put all our trust in one wallet. We know we can't trust wallets 100%, so we give them a level of trust that we've always been giving them, but now our strategy is maybe don't put all our eggs in one basket. Maybe move some of our assets to other platforms, just in case. That seems to be the most sane solution, as opposed to just throwing the ledger out and burning it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't agree with this recovery service. I'm never going to use the recovery service, but I'm going to continue to trust the hardware wallet itself. But by the same token, I'm also exploring other options. I really like the NGRAVE. I might store some of my assets in the NGRAVE. I like the Nifty for storing NFTs. I've always used a Trezor. I always have a little bit in my Trezor. I've got assets spread across several hardware devices. I take a risk in owning a crypto cat because he could scratch or bite, but then crypto cat Polly wouldn't go fancy broth. That's right. Yeah, there's a level of risk in everything we do, and we've always trusted hardware wallet companies. We just didn't realize it until we were rudely awakened. But you know, life goes on, right? We adjust our strategy. As Paul said, either you stay with a ledger or you choose something else. Okay, Paul updated this a while back, yeah. Let's see, are we done with the reinstalling of the apps? Yeah, looks like it. All right, so I have all my apps back on here. What I wanted to talk about, we've still got about 10 minutes. I wanted to show you, a lot of people ask me, how do I manage can I manage multiple devices in one copy of Ledger Live? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to demo that for you. I did that yesterday. So what I'm going to show you is that I'll disconnect this guy. Now, every single account that I have in this Ledger Live is associated with that Ledger Nano X that I just updated, right? Now, almost knocked my camera over. I also have this Ledger device, which belongs to my son, and I set aside a little crypto for him. I wish it could have been more. Maybe I'll have an opportunity to give him more down the road. But I have this other device that also has crypto on it. So how can I manage this device in this copy of Ledger Live? Well, let me show you. Well, all I have to do is connect it and enter my PIN. This device isn't as used as my other device, so it's a little more fresh. It's got like, it's the readout is crisper, the button is more clicky. That other device, I've had that. Oops. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. Has a different pin. Okay. All right, so this device that's been in the closet for about a year has some crypto on there. And I'd like to see what's on there and manage it in my Ledger Live. So unfortunately, I mean, I could kind of manage multiple instances of Ledger Live. I've talked about that. And that's a little cumbersome because you would have to kind of keep replacing folders in your app data folder, renaming them and doing weird stuff, which it's kind of hacky. Right? Or I could have another copy I could create another Windows account on this machine and install Ledger Live in my other Windows account, and it will have a different preferences folder. But I'll just go ahead and say, look, I got one copy of Ledger Live. I have two devices. How do I manage these two devices in one copy of Ledger Live? So I've got the device attached. Let's go up to Add Account and look. Well, the first clue is that there's a Bitcoin app on this device. So let's look for Bitcoin. And it wants me to open the Bitcoin app. I'll click both buttons. And it's going to scan the device for any existing wallets. If it finds a wallet, it'll offer me the opportunity to add it to Ledger Live. And it will also give me the option of adding an empty account, which I won't do. All right, so I'm going to add this account to my Ledger Live. Now, once I do that, this account will always be tied to this device because this is the device that is attached at the moment. So Ledger Live will always remember the device you use to create an account in Ledger Live. But I won't, right? I may not. I'll get an error message if I try to access it, and that can be frustrating. So the better strategy is for me to name this account accordingly so I will remember that it's not my device, it's the other device, right? We'll just call this Bitcoin Alex, right? Because it belongs to him. So this is just one way of doing it, right? We'll hit add account. And now I've got a Bitcoin account associated with Alex. Now I could call this Ledger X Alex to let me know it's a different device. That might help too, because I could call, I could separate a Bitcoin account on my go-to device that is only for Alex too. So let's go ahead and call this one Alex's Ledger. Right? X, right? That makes it a little even clearer that that's what this account is. So if I ever go to this account and decide to send some Bitcoin out, I will know, oh, I better go get Alex's device because this account is associated with Alex's device. Now let's go ahead and see what else is on there. If we go back to the main screen, you can see that there's a Doge and Ethereum app on there. So it makes sense that I should check for some Ethereum and some Doge, right? I got to open the Ethereum app. It's going to scan the device looking for any existing wallets. And there it found that. So let's do the same thing here. All right, that's an Ethereum account that belongs to Alex's Ledger. And let's go ahead and, I know he has some Doge on there. All right, we'll do that. Now it wants me to open the Doge app. And we'll call this one Alex's Ledger X. And there we go. Now I could go on and on just looking for crypto in case maybe I dropped some other cryptos in there, but I didn't, right? But sometimes, like I may have an old device laying around that I don't remember what was on there, right? So, you know, if you really want to do due diligence, you can just hit add account for every crypto that they support and you might get lucky, right? Oh yeah, I forgot I had some Digibyte on there from like 2017 or whatever. But now let's take a look at what we got here. I'm going to turn this camera off. So we have several accounts in here that are not associated with my ledger, but a different ledger. This is how we manage multiple devices in one copy of Ledger Live. Now, unfortunately, when I go to Portfolio, it shows me the total of all of the accounts, Alex's and mine put together. There's really no way of separating them out in the Portfolio section, unfortunately. But in accounts, I can clearly see which accounts belong to which device, right? This account obviously belongs to my Ledger Nano X, and this account belongs to Alex's Ledger Nano X. It could also be one of mine as well, and I could say Rex's other Ledger X, something of that nature, or Rex's Ledger XB, and then put a little, like a little tag on this one that a little label that says B, so that I can keep them straight. I know some people have multiple ledger devices and they want to manage multiple crypto and they don't want to put everything on one device. They want to have more than one device. So they may have 2 or 3 devices. And then they can put labels on the outside if you want. so that you can keep them straight when you open your drawer and look at them. And then you can also like name the accounts accordingly so that you can tell them apart. Now, if I have Alex's device attached and I go to Polygon or look Cosmos and try to, generate a receiving address, I'm going to get an error message because I have the wrong device attached. Even if I install the Polygon app, right? Right? Even if I allow it to install the Polygon app, it'll install the Polygon app on there. But then it won't match this account because this is not the device that created this account. This is Alex's device. He doesn't have any Polygon on here, right? The Polygon account was created with my Ledger Nano X, right? So I'm going to get an error message telling me that this is not the right device. This is the wrong device or the wrong configuration, right? So Ledger remembers, right? Even if I mess up my labeling system, no matter how meticulous it is, I might make a mistake, but Ledger never will, right? Ledger knows because it's cryptographic that, which device is attached. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. But before I do, I'm just going to go through and see if I can answer if there's any burning questions. I don't know why it is, but towards the end of my live stream, I get a lot of people jumping in, asking questions. Like I said, Mr. David, you can go, if you go to help and hit reset device, you will basically wipe your preferences file and start with a clean copy of Ledger Live. However, when you do that, you will need to reattach your Ledger and re-add all of your accounts and Now, what you could do is maybe look at your portfolio and take a picture of it with your phone so that you would remember all of the accounts you had in there, right? Maybe take a picture of all of your accounts so that once you reset Ledger Live, you'll remember which accounts to re-add. And then you'll, as soon as you match your portfolio amount, you'll know you've found them all, right? But by doing that reset, it should, well, this one is telling me that Alex's device needs to be updated. Now that thing is going to keep bothering me until I update Alex's. But this is Alex's, yeah. I'll do it later because we're almost done. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, JDO, for being here. That's any hardware wallet with you. That's any hardware wallet with firmware updates. I think Ledger is the most compatible / convenient. I also believe that the Ledger is the most compatible and convenient solution out there. It maybe is not the most highest level of usability, but it has a lot of support in the industry, which is another factor that I didn't list, right? I said security, usability, and affordability, but compatibility should be another one too. And Ledger has a lot of industry support. There are a lot of third-party wallets that support the Ledger device and don't support Trezor or any other hardware wallets, right? There's a lot of third-party wallets that you can use with a Ledger device only. I'm not sure about Kepler. Maybe Kepler, I don't know if Kepler supports Ledger or Trezor. I'm not sure. I don't think it does. I will stop using Ledger for the majority of my assets. The whole idea is self-custody. I agree that their recovery service is a bad idea, but I'm going to keep using using my Ledger as a viable place to store crypto. I will start spreading my crypto to other devices, but I will not throw away my Ledger because there's a lot of cryptos that I have on my Ledger that I can't manage on other stuff. I think we talked about the Trezor only supports 8 cryptos. Should we be able to trust these people? We've been talking about trust all night. We put our trust in every single hardware wallet to a certain degree. So it's just a fact of life, right? We all thought that Ledger was 100% safe and secure, and then somebody came along and told us there was no Santa Claus. That was really an unrealistic belief, right? It was a belief. People believed that the Ledger was 100% safe and secure. It never really was, right? There's always a small level of trust we had to put in Ledger. We just thought that we didn't. Now we know. But as I mentioned, Keystone, NGRAVE, all of those solutions require a level of trust in the secure chip element. That is, by its very nature, a closed system. It's what makes a hardware wallet, but it really doesn't lend itself to being open source. Trezor does it, but most of these other hardware wallets don't, because it's a secret, right? They don't want people to be able to see how the private key is derived and stored, because it's a secret. I know it's weird. I lost my keys and sent it off to a different wallet, then had to reset the device with new seed. You could always try restore if you can find the original phrase that you wrote down. Maybe you'll come across it in a drawer or something, Inspector Ape. Hopefully you will. Tom says, ChatGTP says, crypto is the way to self-custody money and not trust banks of fiat. I use ChatGTP for a lot of stuff. I don't put a lot of trust in everything that it says, because it basically is, it's like, if you go talk to let's just use the example of an 8-year-old child, and you ask this 8-year-old child about different things, it's going to give you most of what the child will give you is stuff that he got from his parents, because he was raised by his parents. He's around his parents. He kind of believes in the stuff that his parents believe in just because he looks up to his parents, right? ChatGTP is the same. ChatGTP is trained on literature, data, whatever the human experience. It's trained on data, right? And it's not just literature that ChatGTP is trained on. It's trained on a lot of data that is harvested from real live people chatting, like on Facebook and Reddit and all that kind of stuff. So it is trained on normal human day-to-day conversations, as well as authoritative or non-authoritative sources, right? It's trained on the general human condition. So any conclusions that ChatGTP might draw, if you ask it for its opinion, are going to be based on the data it was trained on. So it's not like a sentient entity that has wisdom. You'd probably do better to ask your grandpa, for advice than ChatGTP. So anyway, I think I got most of the questions that were asked there. Darren, Kenny, thanks for being here. Dan, thanks for being here. Thank you all that subscribed during the live stream. Thank you, those of you who donated. I really appreciate it. Let me scroll up here and see if it shows. I know Asil gave me a donation. I appreciate that. Joseph and Charles Rivera. Thank you guys so much for your donations tonight. And thank you so much for everyone that subscribed. Let's see if we can do this. Thank you guys for being here. We do this every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.